All right, I think we're live now. I think we're going. And to start us all off, Carlos, thank you so much. $5 super chat before I even got started tonight. Thank you so much for that. It's very generous of you. You said thank you for the generosity and help to make us successful at growing our own food. Well, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate that. Thanks for joining us tonight, too. Adirondack, hello to you, and good evening to you. Andreas, I think it is. Andreas, is that right? Hopefully I got it right. Good evening, Carlos. Good to see you again. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for joining tonight. I appreciate that. Sorry I couldn't make it last week while we're waiting on people to join and get some questions in here. Let me get the normal disclaimers out of the way. This is a weekly live broadcast I do most Thursday evenings at 7 o'clock Central Time. Sometimes things get in the way. I get tied up with work or family or some of those kinds of things, and I can't make it, which is what happened last week. Got tied up with some work stuff, but most of the time I'm here on Thursday evenings at 7 o'clock Central. I don't have a topic planned out. This is just kind of an Ask Me Anything session. I do my best to respond to all the questions and comments that come in on the chat, unless they're directed. I mean, you guys can have conversations between each other. That's fine. I skip over those, and let you guys talk. It's fine with me. Just the only thing is I ask, be family friendly. Don't be rude. Don't be hateful. Don't cuss at us. Don't, do any of those kinds of things. And I'll do my best to get to your comments. So give me a second here to get going. All right. I've already said hello to a few people. Sage and Stone says, I filled the incubator channels all the way up, plus included a clean saturated sponge, and the incubator still won't get more than 55% for humidity and lockdown. Hydrometer issues, it is digital. It could be. It could very well be. I wouldn't stress about it too much, honestly. 55%. The only way you can get real accurate humidity is doing relative humidity, which is, you can look up wet dry method or wet dry bulb, I think is what it's called. Look that up. That'll tell you how to do that, but you don't really need to worry about it too much. If you've got water in the channels, especially if the glass is fogging up, which it probably is, you're going to be fine. I wouldn't worry about that too much at all. I think it's probably just the hydrometer is not reading it real accurate, and it's not necessarily the hydrometer's problem. It's just your air is probably really dry outside, so it's having a hard time getting the reading on the humidity itself. I think you're going to be fine. 55% humidity into lockdown. Again, as long as you're, if you've got any kind of fog on the glass on the incubator, any of that kind of stuff, I think you're going to do just fine. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. All right, Trevor. Hello to you, Trevor. Good to see you. And Andreas says, what season is the best to breed Flemish rabbits? Well, pretty much all rabbits run the same. It depends a little bit on your climate there. But if you're like us, where it gets hot in the summertime, and I'm talking, now I don't know what country you're in. I'm in America, so I'm going to talk about degrees Fahrenheit. But if it gets up above like 85 degrees Fahrenheit in your summer times, it's best to breed your rabbits in the fall and the winter. Rabbits really struggle in the heat of summer when it gets real hot. If you live in a very dry climate, you might be able to get away with using like evaporative coolers and those kinds of things to kind of cool it down. And then you could breed in the summertime. But with a Flemish Giant, I would really stay away from breeding in the summertime. I would stick more with fall, winter, when the temperatures drop below, when they're not getting above about 85, 90 degrees during the day. The nighttime temperatures are, dropping down in the 60s and 70s, and they're fine to breed in the middle of winter. I've bred rabbits as cold as, when it gets down below 0 Fahrenheit here, and have had no real problems with that. As long as they have their babies in the nest box, they do just fine. So, I would stay away from breeding in the summer. That's the only time I've had real issues with baby rabbits suffering. I've lost more baby rabbits in the heat of summer than I ever have in the cold of winter. So hopefully that gives you an answer that's what you're looking for. I hope that helps. Oh, you're in Canada. Well, your summers still get pretty hot, probably about the same as us. I don't know what 85 degrees is in Celsius. It's probably like, 25 or something like that, 22. I don't know. You'll have to look that up. I'm a stupid American. I know Fahrenheit. I don't know the Celsius, so I can't help with that too much. But hopefully that gives you something to go with. That gives you an answer. Again, I would stick with fall, winter. I usually, around here, our summertime really starts about now. We're a little bit behind right now, so looking at the end of May, 1st of June, where we start getting hot. I don't breed from usually about the end of April until I'll go back to breeding probably end of end of October, probably somewhere right around in there. And that's when our average first frost day is October 15th. So It's usually not that cold on October 15th, but that's our average first frost date. So somewhere around mid to late October, I can start breeding again. I'll breed October, November, December, January, February, March, maybe even in April. But after April, I don't breed because summer's coming on. It gets too hot at that point. So hopefully that makes sense. That gives you an answer you're looking for. All right, Joe says, do baby rabbits eat the same as an adult? Getting a couple of new rabbits for the kids, and they are 8 weeks old. Yeah, they should be eating the same as the adult. Now, what you might want to do is check with whoever you're getting them from. If you're getting from a breeder or a pet store or whatever, find out what they're feeding their rabbits right now. Try to stick with the same diet. If you want to switch it up, you can, but do it slowly. Don't, whatever they're eating now, whatever brand of pellet, whatever, just feed the same thing. If you want to change it up to another one, then just mix in little bits of it at a time until you've got them switched over. You don't want a drastic change in diet. So you don't want them to go from, say they're eating mostly greens at their wherever they're coming from now. You don't want to just cut them off greens and switch them over to pellets all of a sudden, or vice versa. So you want to do that slowly, because rabbits are very sensitive to sudden diet changes. But yes, they eat the same as adults. Chances are, if they were feeding their adult rabbits pellets, the babies usually start eating at around 14 days, 15 days old, something like that. They'll get out and they'll start nibbling on some of the food. By the time they're 8 weeks old, they should be completely, sorry, my dog's distracting me. They should be completely weaned off the mother for the most part and relying solely on whatever food they're feeding the mother. They'll eat the same thing. So hopefully that helps with it and makes sense. All right. Katrina, hello to you. She says she's from Gilroy, California. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Owen, I'm doing fine. Hopefully you are too. Hello to you, Madison, from North Carolina, you said. Edward, about your quail hutches, especially the big ones, do you have any issues concerning snow buildup? No, I really haven't had any issues with that at all. No, I haven't had any issues. You don't get tons of snow, but we do get snow. We had a little bit of snow this winter. A couple of times where it snowed several inches. I'm trying to think if there was snow buildup on there. It wasn't significant. It didn't cause any problems because I don't remember it at all. It hasn't been an issue at all for me. All right, Edward says hello. Good to see you, Edward. Sage and Stone says, thank you, Chris. I had it in my mind to make sure to ask you that in the next live session before I hatch some quail out. No problem. You are absolutely welcome. And Olivia, I think that's hi. You're saying hello to you. Bobby says, that answered my question too. When do you stop breeding for the summer? Yep, there you go. Glad I can answer two questions with one shot there. All right, Ed got bait. Good to see you again. Grab a drink here. Says, I've got 60 quail eggs in the incubator. Wish me luck. LOL. Should have chicks on the 30th. Well, good luck. I've got eggs in the cooler right now. I'm collecting. I'll be starting incubating them probably next week. I'm probably going to redo my series. I've got a series on improving your hatch rate. So I'm thinking about probably redoing that with this hatch. I'm not sure if I'll do it or not. But it just depends. I've been crazy busy here lately. Lots of things going on. I'm still working on getting floors installed. You can tell. Hasn't changed in here. It's still yucky carpeting. I'll get to this eventually. I do have pretty much the whole house, the floor laid in the whole house, except for bathrooms and bedrooms. That's the only places I have left to do. This is classified as a bedroom, actually, even though I use it as more of an office. So that's been taking up a lot of my time on the weekends. I'm sorry I haven't been responding to a lot of comments lately. I'll do my best to get back in there and get to those pretty quick. But anyway, got off on a tangent. So hung, I always forget, is it hung or is it ung, or I can't remember exactly. I know I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Forgive me. Says, hello, Chris. Thank you for all the time and information you put into making these videos. Well, thank you for watching them. I appreciate it. Andrea says, thank you for the help. You're absolutely welcome. Madison says, I bought a shed for my bunnies, trying to get them all moved in before it gets too hot. Have you had any litters of bunnies this year? Well, I had some that were born in early January, but sorry, got distracted by a sound there. Max, come. I need to check something. Hang on just 1 second. Make sure my dog didn't go out the door. All right, sorry about that, guys. He didn't go. Oh, he went out the door, but he went out the door. He can go out. I've got my doors all opened up, my windows opened up because it's not too bad out right now. And I've got another problem I'll tell you guys about here in a minute why I haven't turned the air conditioner on. But anyway, I was worried that he went out the front door because my front screen door doesn't latch. He's usually pretty good about not doing that, but I didn't hear him, so I was a little worried about that. But he went out the other door and went out in the backyard. He can go out there. So, all right. Have I had any bunnies this year? Sorry, Madison got distracted in the middle of answering that question. I did have some babies born back in January. They have been processed. They're in the freezer now, and I am done breeding for the year, so I won't have any more for the rest of the year. Carlos says to hit the like button. Thank you. I appreciate that, Carlos. And if you guys don't mind, if you are enjoying the content or if you're, happy to be here or whatever, go ahead and hit the like button. It does help out with the algorithm and helps, the video drive a little bit more views. And I appreciate it in advance. All right. Sillamore says, hi, Chris and all from North Central Arkansas. It will not stop raining here. Yeah, I think, Sillamore, I think you probably got more rain than we have. It's been raining here, real rainy, but it's just light rain, and it's just kind of spotty, hit or miss, but it's been going for days. It looks like the most of it has gone south of us, so I think you're probably getting hit a lot harder than we are. So I don't know if you're getting a break this weekend, but we look like we are getting a break. Saturday's supposed to be like 85 and sunny. Sunday's supposed to be sunny, and Monday's supposed to be nice and clear. And then we get rain again Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. So good time to get seeds in the ground if you're not getting too much rain. But other than that, yeah, it's a little gloomy sometimes. Katrina says, I just ordered a Humidity incubator. My area is dry, not humid. Do you or anyone else on here recommend an external humidity attachment? It will be my first time hatcher. I wouldn't stress about it too much. I don't think, an external humidity attachment is going to hurt at all, but you're probably going to be just fine hatching in the incubator, even though you live in a dry climate. When you get your incubator, set it up, go ahead and run it, put water in it, and, just fill the channels up and see how long it takes for them to go dry. And then, as long as it doesn't take more than 4 or 5 days, or as long as it doesn't take less than, 5 days, 4 or 5 days for it to go dry, you really don't have anything to worry about. You should be going into lockdown. Before lockdown, you can open it up and add water whenever you want to, so that's not a big deal. After lockdown, you're only going to go for usually about 5 days before your hatch is completely done. So if it's going to last 5 days, you just figure out how much water you need to put in to get your humidity up where you need to get it. Again, don't trust the humidity gauge so much. If it's only reading I can't remember who was it that had the issue, said that they can only get it up to 55% humidity on their humidity gauge. If it's not reading real high, but your windows are fogging up, your humidity is plenty high enough. So, figure out how long it takes, how much water you need to put in it to get the humidity up, and how long it takes for it to go dry, and you're probably going to be okay. You can also just do something simple like take a piece of tubing and like a turkey baster that fits on the end of the turkey baster and run it down into one of those channels so that you can add water to it without opening the incubator up. You can do something simple like that. That's not really too difficult. Play with that a little bit before you got eggs in there so you know how much water you need to add to get it where you need to. Otherwise, you're going to be kind of guessing. Sometimes it's real hard to see through those windows. And if you're trying to put water in there with a turkey baster through a tube, then, it may be tricky to tell, if you haven't practiced it first to know how much you need, it may be tricky to tell how much water you're putting in. That would be my suggestion. If you've got the extra money, you want to go ahead and invest in a, external humidity attachment. I don't have a specific model. I don't have that problem. It's pretty humid around here, so I don't have that issue. So I can't really give you a specific recommendation on it, but if you've got the extra money and you want to invest in it, it's not a bad investment. I'm sure it'll work just fine. But there's a couple of solutions for you if you don't really want to mess with that. All right. Moon Outdoors says, hey, Chris, do you use apple cider vinegar in your quail water for coccidiosis for chicks? No, I don't bother with it. I just don't mess with it. I don't do anything. They come out of the egg, they start eating the same food the adults do, and they're fine. I don't have any problems with it. If you've got your birds in contact with the ground, they are going to be at a higher chance of coccidiosis. So, then it may be worth something to do, but I don't know that apple cider vinegar is going to be enough to prevent that. Try and see. If you're not having any problems, you're not having any problems. But if you do start having problems, you may have to go with more of a medicated feed for them. All right. Madison says, how old do you sell your baby bunnies? Well, I don't sell very many, but when I do, it's always at 8 weeks old or older. In fact, I think in most states, it's technically illegal to sell an animal less than 6 weeks old because you really don't want to wean them off their parents before they're 6 weeks old or older. So your best bet is going to be 8 weeks old or older to sell those rabbits. And in most places, that's probably going to be the legal requirement. Now, whether you'd actually get in trouble for it for selling them younger than that or not, you just know an old hillbilly that would say the catching's before the hanging. But still, it's that way for a reason. It's best practice is don't wean them before they're 6 weeks old. And then at that point, you should be able to sell them. So I always go a couple of weeks past that, 8 weeks, and then I figure it's good. All right. Brody says, hey, Chris, my quail finally started laying eggs. Awesome. It's that time of year. Everybody's asking about why their quail aren't laying eggs yet. Well, this is the time. They're going to start laying anytime if they haven't already. If you don't have external lights on them. Now, if you have external lights, you probably started getting eggs a little bit earlier. But if you don't have external lights on them, they should start laying. They should already be laying. And if they're not, if you're in the U.S. anyway, and if they're not, then they're going to start laying any day now. All right. David says hello from Coventry, UK. Awesome. Thanks for joining us from all the way across the pond there. Appreciate that. Jake says, I've got 30 autumn amber Coturnix quail in lockdown. Incubating is fun. I've been taking my current quail eggs to an auction and doing well enough to pay for itself. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Good luck with your hatch too. I'm not familiar with autumn amber quail. I'll have to look that up. I'm guessing it's a type of a brownish colored bird, but I don't know what color strain that is right offhand. All right. Lamongi says, hello, friend. I didn't have a good experience barbecuing my rabbit meat. Meat is too dry for the barbecue. Do you have any advice? Godspeed. Well, thank you very much for the friend comment. I consider you guys all friends too. Hello to you as well. Yeah, rabbit meat is incredibly lean. So the solutions would be, I think, two things that you can do. One, brine it. I can't remember the exact measurement. Brine is just basically salt and water. But I can't remember the exact measurement. I want to say it's like 3/4 cup salt. Look up a brine. Don't quote me on this one, but 3/4 of a cup salt, and use like a kosher salt or a canning salt, and to a gallon of water, and let the rabbit sit in there for 24 hours is probably more than enough. 12 hours is probably fine. So put it in there. What I use is actually for a rabbit, you could probably do that in like a Tupperware bowl or something like that. When I brine turkeys, I use those turkey baster bags. That way I don't have to have a great big bucket in my refrigerator. Put it in there, let it soak overnight, take it out, wash it off, dry it off real good, and then add some kind of fat to it if you can. Bacon, butter, something like that. Bacon's a good one if you can eat bacon, if it's not something that's restricted by diet or whatever. Bacon's really good because it just stays on the meat. You can just kind of wrap the rabbit with bacon. Another solution would be to cover it. You may start off on the barbecue grill. I would do like an indirect heat, a little bit slow, and then for the last maybe half hour, 30 minutes, add some kind of sauce if you can, a barbecue sauce or whatever, and wrap it in foil. That will help tenderize it and make it a little bit not as dry. So that'll help with that. And butter at that point would be good as well. Anyway, those are a few suggestions I would have for it. It is a lean meat. You're always going to have a little bit of problems. There's hardly any fat in it. So you're always going to have a little bit of problems with it drying out a little bit or with it being a little bit on the dry side. But those things will help, hopefully. Katrina says, I got my first inkless quail egg. It's so weird. It is always odd when you get those, but it doesn't mean anything. Don't stress about it. Joe says, sorry, one more question. You don't have to apologize. That's what we're here for. Ask all the questions you want. Says, one more question. What should be avoided in regards to baby rabbits where vegetables or any other food is concerned? Well, really just the, hang on, guys. I'm going to make sure that's not anything that's, oh, boy. Okay. Work stuff, but nothing I have to deal with right at the moment. So, where was I going with that? Vegetables or foods, really anything that is, bad for rabbits in general. So you want to just stay away from the things like, nightshade plants of the nightshade, which would be like tomatoes and peppers, and I think peppers are nightshades, aren't they? Potatoes, I believe, are. Anyway, not the, I mean, they can eat tomato just fine, but not the greens, not the plant itself. You don't want to feed that to your rabbits. But that goes for adults or babies. The only thing I would say about baby rabbits is don't feed them anything you're not feeding the mother rabbit. So just feed the mother rabbit. Whatever you're feeding the mother rabbit, the baby rabbits can eat too, and they'll eat as they want to. So you don't have to worry about making any special corrections for them or anything like that. Stay away from avocado. Onions, of course. What else? There's several things, but if you're feeding your mother rabbit right now and she's doing fine on it, the babies are going to do fine too. You don't have to make any special concessions for them. What I would say is don't introduce new things to them while they're being weaned, while the mother is still nursing them. Don't change that diet up. Just keep it the same as you've always been feeding the mother rabbit. The babies will start eating part of that as they feel like it, and they're going to be fine. All right. Miguel says, hey, Chris, and God bless. Thank you. Normally I tease you with Team Coke, but this time it's Team Fanta. Love your content. Well, thank you so much. I haven't had a Fanta forever, but yeah, I'm Pepsi tonight. I had Coke last week, but I didn't make it on the live broadcast. You would have enjoyed that, I'm sure, but sorry, couldn't make it last week. All right, take another sip while I got it there. All right, Gingerbeard says, hope all is well, good sir. Thank you, it has been. I've been running the incubator almost nonstop, plus picked up 2 more, going at hatching pretty hard this year. Put my 3-week-olds in with the adults, and it worked beautifully. Well, glad to hear it. Congratulations on your success, by the way. Yeah, I usually find 3-week-old birds moved in with older birds, they do just fine. It works out great. So I'm glad to hear it's working well for you, too. Hey, Katernik's Corner is here. Hello. Good to see you, Terry. And says, hello, Chris. Hope all is well. It's going well. Hopefully it is for you too. And says, let's see, I have a litter of kits due June 13th. There we go. I plan on breeding 2 does this month. I won't breed any in June or July. Start back breeding in August with kits arriving in September. Worked well last year. Well, no reason to change if it's working well. I will say, I say don't breed during the summer, but, again, that depends a little bit on what your summers are like. It depends a little bit on the rabbits too. There is a breed of rabbit. Tamuk rabbits are bred specifically to be heat tolerant. The Tamuk is Texas A&M, I think is what it stands for. And they're a New Zealand white rabbit, but they are bred specifically to be more heat tolerant. So they can withstand being bred in a little bit hotter climates than what most rabbits can handle. So yeah, again, if it's working great for you, no reason to change it. Keep going. All right, Brody. I have 1 hen and 1 rooster left. My incubator will be here next week. I'm ready to start hatching. Just watched your old hatching series, but a new one would be great if you have time. Yeah, I'm working on putting out a new one. It won't be drastically different content, but I like to think that maybe I've got a little bit better at, the camera and the video process itself. And I know there was an error, I think, with one of those where it was choppy or it wasn't like it was cutting out or something. I know I've had several people comment on that. So, and I'll condense it all down, I think, to 1 video instead of it being like 4 videos now, or the way it is now. So, yeah, I plan on trying to get a new one out. We'll see how it goes. Bobby says, I barbecued my first rabbit. I did only front legs. I let them age in the fridge for about a week and froze them, just a dry rub, and cooked them at 160. They were good, but they were even better the next day. Yeah, I can imagine that would be better. But just the front legs, huh? There's not much to the front legs, really. I can't imagine there'd be a whole lot there. But yeah, let them go in the fridge. You did a dry rub. You cook them at 160. Yeah, think of it like chicken breast. That's the closest thing I can think of. Everybody's probably pretty familiar with chicken breast. So you'd want to kind of do it the same way as chicken breast and expect similar results. All right, John says, hello from Carroll, Iowa. I always enjoy your videos. Well, thank you so much, John. I appreciate that. Sillamore says, yeah, it's supposed to dry out soon, and I need to get the garden planted. Yeah, I know the feeling. I got some stuff I still need to put in. Still trying to figure out what else I'm going to grow, but I'll figure it out. Lee says, hey, Chris, what are your thoughts about giving rabbits a plant called by these names if you have the plant where you live? Oh, boy, that sounds like I don't know what those are, so I can't help you. Luciana, Lucifala, I don't know what that is. Let's see if I can look that up real quick. I'm not familiar with it, so I can't really. Give me a minute here. Let's see what it brings up. It's a small, fast-growing mimosoid tree, so it's similar to mimosa, huh? Native to, it looks like a mimosa tree anyway. Southern Mexico and North Central America. So let's look up the toxicity real quick. Steers fed a solid diet, rapidly developed a hypothyroid condition. It may be best to stay away from that one. It sounds like just a quick search on Google talks about, here, let me get back in here, talks about thyroid issues being developed from steers fed that diet. So that may be one to stay away from. I'm not sure what white lead tree is. Just do a search in Google if you would. I don't know these plants, so I can't really give you an exact recommendation on it. White lead tree. Oh, that's the same thing, isn't it? White lead tree is the common name for that, I think, in Louisiana, whatever it is the scientific name, it sounds like. Oh, hang on, I gotta get back here. Where's my... We got lost track. So yeah, just do a search for each one of those and just put toxicity after it, and then you can read and see if it's toxic. I don't know anything about them. I'm not familiar with those plants, so I can't really give you an answer on that one. I'd have to look them up myself, and I don't want to take away from too much from everybody else to do that. Hopefully you understand that. Sorry, I can't help more on that. All right, Elizabeth says, how long can a rabbit hold a litter for? Well, I don't know what you mean exactly by hold a litter. You mean like before they give birth? I'm going to assume that's kind of what you mean. Most rabbits will give birth on day 30, but some of them do hold out a little bit longer, and they can go up to day 35 or 36 even. I think after about day 37 or 38, I'd count it as a false labor or false pregnancy or a miscarriage or something like that, and just go ahead and rebreed the rabbit, or just plan on the baby's not being born at that point. Hopefully that's what you were asking. Hello to you, JS Pirani Farms is what it is. Katrina, thanks. You're welcome. Let's see. We know his voice says, I bless you all. Keep up the faith in the Lord Jesus, walking in his ways. Well, thank you. I agree. Keep up the faith. And again, I am a Christian. I've said before, it's not really the place to go preaching at everybody, but I don't mean it like that. I felt bad after I said that because it was kind of a spur of the moment thing I said on another video. It's fine if you want to profess your faith in here. It's okay with me. Just don't spam us with the stuff like that. I am a Christian. I believe the same things, but we don't need to spam everybody. Not that you are. I'm not blaming you. All right. Ed Got Bait says, has anyone tried a ultrasonic humidifier? I haven't. Somebody might have, but I haven't tried it. Josie says, hello from Hawaii. That's a place I'd like to visit someday. I've never been. Hello to you too, by the way. All right, Jamie says, hey, Chris, this is Todd from the Dixie Delight Farm and Homestead in Harmony, North Carolina. Bred my first rabbits last Sunday, silver fox rabbits. Can't wait for bunnies. Well, good luck with your kindling. I hope it goes well. And thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Sean says, howdy. Howdy to you, Sean. Let's see. Marvin says, I'm finally getting some quail this weekend. There we go. It took a while to convince my parents, but I did it. Well, congratulations. Hopefully everything goes well with them. Hopefully you got your cages and all that stuff set up. I'm sure they're going to do great. Michael, my Coturnix is laying good. Tennessee's Reds and Bob Whites are just starting. Got 3 dozen ringneck pheasant eggs supposed to hatch on the 5th. Sounds like you got quite a few birds there. So, well, I'm glad to hear that the Coturnix are starting to lay again. And good luck with your pheasant egg hatching. Hopefully that goes well. All right, Jamie says, you, sir, have taught me a lot. Quail are doing great. I have 25 2-week-old birds and 120 on incubator that are on second day of lockdown. Well, good luck with that hatch. I hope it goes well. And I'm glad to hear that you're learning a lot from the videos. Thank you so much for watching them. I appreciate that. Brody says, I threw my rabbit legs right onto the grill a few days ago, and they were great. Didn't add anything, just used the meat. Interesting. I think I would have to put something on them, but, I guess not. Maybe they would turn out great either way. Sean says, I just ordered 50 ringneck pheasants, and half showed up dead, and the rest were on the down climb. Boy, I'm sorry to hear that, Sean. I don't know much about pheasants, so I can't really give you much advice on that, but I know quail in general, live birds don't ship well. you're better off ordering eggs when it comes to quail than in trying to order live birds and have them shipped through the mail. So maybe the same thing with pheasants. I'm really not familiar enough with them to be able to answer or tell you one way or the other. All right, Jake says, I've got 30 autumn amber Coturnix quail in lockdown. They are brown, autumn amber, aka Italian roux Coturnix quail hatching eggs from Myshire Farms. Best of luck to you. Awesome. I'm going to have to look that up. Myshire is a great supplier, so I'm sure you're going to have great results with those, and they sound like interesting birds. I know he gets a lot more into the genetics than I do, so if you want some good information about quail genetics or some of those kinds of things, it's a good channel to watch. He's got some good videos out there, and I think he's coming up on Coturnix Quarter Live pretty soon, or maybe just did. I haven't been keeping up too much with all my YouTube channels lately, so check out Coturnix Quail. I know that he's been on Coturnix Corner's live broadcast at least once before, and I think it was recently or it's coming up pretty quick. I'm not sure. I can't remember. All right, Jesse says, have feed costs gone up in your area? Like a lot of things, it's going way up here. It's gone up a little bit, not a lot, $1 or $2 a bag, but yeah, it has gone up a little bit. All right, Totally Gummer says, hey, Chris, this is your cousin in Texas. Finally getting to catch a live broadcast while it's live. Keep up the good work. My cousin in Texas. I don't know if that's really my cousin in Texas or if it's, if you're saying that but either way, if it's my cousin in Texas, hope you're doing well. I'm glad to, thanks for joining the live broadcast. I appreciate that. So I never know, people call me brother, people call me cousin, uncle. I mean, all kinds of things that I don't know who they are. So I'm not sure if that's actually you or not. All right. Michael says, I have a problem with not having enough eggs for my incubator GQF 1502. Yeah, I can imagine that would be difficult to come up with enough eggs to fill that up. All right. Miguel says, are you on Instagram or TikTok yet? No, I'm not on TikTok at all. I'm only on Instagram under my personal. I do a side business doing some photography, mostly like real estate photography and some of those things. So I have an Instagram profile there. I'm not real active on social media, but I mean, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, you can do that. It's Chris Carnes or Christopher Carnes. I can't remember how it's set up. I guess I could check and see what hang on just a second. I can't figure out my phone all of a sudden. There we go. Let's see. What is my Instagram? Where are we? Yeah, Christopher Carnes is my Instagram. And you'll know it by the avatar probably. So CD Carnes, I think, is it. CD Carnes. My initials are CDC, the same thing they use for the Center for Disease Control. All right. Gina says, hello. I have a rabbit that can't hop very well. When he does, he shakes. Maybe like he had a stroke. Have you ever seen anything like that happen? I haven't personally had any of those issues, but it does sound like a back injury of some kind. That's pretty common in rabbits. Yeah, and if he's shaking, it sounds like he's probably in pain. So I think, you got to make your decisions yourself. But I think at that point, I would probably look at culling that rabbit. It's pretty common for them to fracture their back or injure their back in ways, break their back even. That can lead to those kinds of problems like that. Usually they just can't use their back legs. But what it sounds like to me is that you're saying he can't hop very well. And when he does, he shakes. That sounds like back trauma to me. I may be completely wrong with that. Monitor him, see how he's doing. It's really hard to tell if animals are in distress or not, but, shaking when he hops does sound like something that is a problem. You might check his feet, though. Before I say just go ahead and call him, check his back feet and see if he's got sore hocks maybe. It could be that he's having a hard time hopping because he's got problems with his feet. You'll know if that's the issue because you'll see, like, the back of his feet, he'll have probably it'll look like cracks in the pads of his back feet and probably opened up like an open sore or something like that. So check that first, because if that's the case, then you can clean that up real good, treat with some antibiotic ointment, not with pain reliever in it. Make sure you get the kind that doesn't have pain reliever in it, and use something like Preparation H or something to kind of help tighten that skin up, close it up. Give him something solid to walk on, get him off the wire. The bad news is if it's sore hocks, that kind of seems one of those things that's kind of chronic. You can't really ever quite get away from it, and I believe that it's hereditary. So if you breed him, it's going to be passing that on to other his offspring, his or her offspring. So anyway, I hope that helps out with that. I wish I had a better solution for you, but that's my best bet right offhand, or my best guess, I should say. All right. Love Tiny Things say, just wanted to say hi. I just started with Quail, and you were a big help. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Brody says, I lied. I did use seasoning salt, but that's it. Well, that's not a big lie, seasoning salt, but still, that is a little bit more than just the plain meat, but I do like seasoning salt, so that's a good choice. Big Mike says, Sean, that's not unusual, especially if they were shipped to you. Small birds just don't do well being shipped. Thanks, Big Mike. That was my thought, too, but I wasn't sure on the pheasant. Brittany, what is the rule about breeding rabbits when it comes to inbreeding? Can you breed half siblings, same but different mom? Now, I would stay away from that. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to breed them, go ahead and do it. But I personally would stay away from that. I don't like to breed any kind of sibling together. You can breed daughter to father or son to mother. That is line breeding, and that is a well-received practice. It's pretty common. It's how you can kind of, build good traits in your rabbitry. But breeding brother and sister, even if they're just half brother and sister, really kind of opens you up for a lot of issues, because you will significantly increase whatever traits those rabbits have. They'll be passed on and they'll be intensified. That means the good traits and the bad traits. And you can start introducing deformities and things like that into your rabbits, which may not be like physical deformities, but internal issues, where rabbits are just more prone to being sick, die early. There's all kinds of things that can come up with that. I would stay away from doing it if I were you. But again, you can do it however you want to. You may not have any problems whatsoever. It may work out just great for you. But me personally, I would stay away from it. All right, Boris, hello to you. Good to see you. Rough Patch Homestead, and this is probably good advice. Was that to Brittany? He says, breed the best, eat the rest. That's not bad advice. I would say if you are going to be breeding, half siblings together, you're probably doing that because you want to grow out your rabbitry. The one thing you're going to have to do is call hard. So only keep the very best specimens and make sure you get rid of all the rest of them. That would be something to kind of keep an eye on. But yeah, he's got good advice there. He or she, I'm not sure who Rough Patch Homestead is, but you've got good advice. Thanks for the advice. All right, Elizabeth says, I got rid of my male 2 months ago, and my doe had babies a week ago. Well, hopefully you were looking for baby rabbits. Hopefully that's a good thing. But if not, you've got some baby rabbits. They probably won't be hard to get rid of either, though. I'm not sure exactly how to respond to that right offhand. All right, Gigi says, do you believe that in buying eggs from a breeder for quail that the instinct to incubate them naturally by the quail itself has been bred out of them? I have quail that give me mini eggs, and they never said on them at all that they never incubate them themselves. I meant to say never sit on them at all. Sorry, Google speak. Yeah, it's okay. He does eat and drink. Oh, wait, I'm off to somebody else. All right. Okay, so yeah, generally speaking, your Coturnix quail are not going to be good at sitting on their own eggs. They're domesticated. They've been domesticated for a long time, and they've lost a lot of that instinct. It does happen. Sometimes birds go broody, and I don't think it matters if you're ordering eggs, shipping them in, whatever. It doesn't matter. Most of the Coturnix quail we have here that you're going to get are domesticated birds. They've been domesticated for a long time. They're just not good at reliably sitting on their eggs and hatching them out. It's rare for them to ever do that. Now, it does happen from time to time. Sometimes a bird goes broody. It's a lot more common in birds that are kept in like aviary-style cages as opposed to like wire-bottom hutches or something like that. And in aviary-style cages, they usually have a lot more room and a lot more hiding places and all those kinds of things. That's more common for them to want to do that. But even then, it's not real reliable. They're not going to be you can't rely on them very heavily for producing or hatching. Even if you have one that goes broody, the results are usually not great. You're much better off incubating them yourselves if you want to be able to get offspring out of them. All right. Gina says he does eat and drink, and he's a sweet bunny. Well, you might give him a little bit of time and see how he is doing. See if he recovers, if he's starting to get better. But I'd watch him pretty close. And again, check his feet. That may be it. And if that's it, then it's a fairly simple, solution to it. But it's going to be something you're probably going to battle forever with him. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I had better advice for you, but those are the best options that I have. Just, not being able to examine the rabbit myself, not being able to see, just based on what you described, those are the best options for me. He might do just fine if he's eating and drinking just fine. Who knows? You may give him a couple of weeks or give him a week or two more and see if he's showing improvement or if he starts to decline, if he's starting to look worse. I would look at, especially if there's no problem with his feet. I would look at calling him at that point if it were me, just because it does sound like he's probably suffering a little bit, but I may be wrong. So give him some time if you want to and see how he does. I hope he gets better. I hope he does. Jeff says, what causes ear mites in rabbits? They're little bugs that get in the rabbit's ears. And I can't tell you why they get them, but it's ear mites. That's what they are. Mites are just common. It's common with rabbits. It's not uncommon with things like dogs and cats and those kinds of things as well. But for some reason, rabbits are incredibly prone to them. I don't know why. It's just a reoccurring thing you're going to have to deal with if you want to keep rabbits. Luckily, it's pretty easy to treat. Just a couple of drops of any kind of food grade oil, olive oil, mineral oil, vegetable oil, peanut oil. In any kind of food grade oil. A couple of drops in each ear every day for a week and a half till the scabs are all gone, and then do it every other day for another 4 or 5, another week, just to make sure they're gone. And that usually takes care of them. It's no problem. I did find some sprayable, like in an aerosol can, olive oil. That's really nice because it's so much easier to spray in their ears than it is to try to put a couple of drops in them. So you might check into that. All right. How are we doing on time? We got 15 minutes or so, about 17 minutes left. All right. Captain Snipham says, yo, buddy, I came across your channel and your 4-part series on the Little Giant Incubator. Huge help. Well, glad to hear that. Thank you for commenting that. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. I'm glad to hear that you found it very helpful, and thank you for watching. All right, Rough Patch Homestead says, I should have been more specific. You can test breed siblings if they are both excellent quality. I would agree with that. If any issues come up, don't breed again. And also, I'm a she. Thank you for clarifying. I'll probably forget that next time, so forgive me whenever I come back to your name again. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that's probably a good idea. You could test breed them together, and if you have issues, probably best not to breed them again. Me personally, I don't breed siblings at all. I just wouldn't do it. That's just my thoughts, though. All right. Totally Gomer says, I should have been more specific. This is your littler cousin, Jeff. Okay, I thought that might have been you. I didn't want to call your name out if you didn't, want to bring it out there. Yeah, good to see you, man. I'm glad to see you made it to a live broadcast. Thanks for joining. I appreciate that. I need to get down to Texas sometime and visit you, but I don't know. The way things are going, it's been tough to get away and do anything. But who knows? Maybe we'll get that done sometime soon, hopefully. All right, Lee says, hey, Chris, what is the best age to check the gender in bunnies? Usually when they're fairly young, probably 3 weeks old, somewhere right around in there is about the time that I would like to check them. Much older than that, it gets really hard to hold them. They get really feisty, and they start kicking and scratching, and it's really hard to hold them and check. Either that or you just wait till they get to be like 12 weeks old, and then it's pretty easy to tell which ones are which. Yeah, I would go about 3 weeks old. Much younger than that, it's really hard to tell, if they're male or female. And again, much older than that, they start getting pretty difficult to handle. All right, Rough Patch Homestead says, I raise Rex rabbits and I'm working on a tricolor line, so sibling breeding will be necessary, but you need to be careful and have clear goals in mind. Yep, you're right. I agree. And I'm not telling you don't. I don't work on, I don't really breed for future breeders in my rabbitry. They're just for meat. I find it easy enough for me to find breeding rabbits that I don't need to do all that. But if you want to do that, you're right. You're going to have to, breeding to work on a specific trait like a color or something like that. You are going to have to do some line breeding, inbreeding to get that isolated, get those genes isolated. But again, like you said, you're going to have to be very careful with it. You're going to have to cull very hard. So it's a lot of work. But if you have that goal in mind, you know what you're doing, then no reason you can't do it. All right, Captain Snipham says, would you recommend the Govee temp and humid unit and Wi-Fi app as a good calibration to the Little Giant Incubator? I'm not sure what that is. Govee temp and humid unit. Huh? Let me look that up real quick, see if it's something I know, but just have forgotten. I'm not familiar with them, though, I don't think. Well, no, I'm not familiar with this at all. I don't know much about it, so I can't give you my recommendation on it. Looks like it's selling on Amazon, and it looks like it gets pretty good reviews, but I'm not sure what people are using it for. It doesn't look like it's being specifically marketed to people for incubators, but that doesn't mean it won't work for that. So I'm sorry, I haven't used it. I can't give you a specific recommendation one way or the other, but it does get like almost 5-star reviews on Amazon. So it's probably good for something. I can't give you the specifics. I'm sorry. Brody says, hey, Chris, thanks for the live stream and videos, but I'm going to head out for the night. I look forward to your content. Thanks again. Thanks for joining, Brody. Have a good night, and we'll see you hopefully next time. Robin says, why the Listerine on the quail eggs? Good question. That is it's a cleaning agent, basically, or in a way to kill bacteria. So, the bacteria lives on everything, especially on your quail eggs. And the Listerine is a good way to cut down on the bacteria before you put them into the incubator itself. There's been quite a few studies on it, and you don't have to use Listerine. Hydrogen peroxide, 50% with water, that works really well. Even rubbing alcohol 50% with water. The important thing is you mist the eggs down. You don't scrub them off. You don't want to scrub the bloom off of the eggs, but you do want to control, they come from a fairly dirty environment. You don't want to introduce all that bacteria into your incubator in a warm, moist environment where bacteria thrives. You don't want to introduce all that in there. So it's a way to kind of kill that bacteria before you do that. It does have a significant impact on your hatch rates, and you can definitely see better hatch rates by doing that. So hopefully that answers the question and makes sense. All right, Pierre says, hey, Chris, good to see you again live. Can you show us one day the flooring you've been laying? Yeah, I can. Actually, let's see. I don't know if my phone will show up. I got a picture of, we'll deal with it later. It may be hard for me to find. Yeah, I'll try to do that. This is the first time I've ever laid floor. It's vinyl plank flooring, so it's not that hard. It's, click in and all, but first time I've ever done it, so I'm not an expert on laying floor, but eventually it'll be here. You'll see it in here if nothing else, but I'll see what I can do. All right. Frederico says, good day all here. Good day to you too. It's not Frederico, it's Federico. There we go. Got it. Trahan, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, says, Chris, thanks for all your videos. My wife and I have hatched 10 quail about a month ago, and we're just waiting to vent sex them. Any advice for the first-time quail owners? Well, it sounds like you're doing well. If you got them hatched out about a month ago, you probably got about another month before you'll really be able to vent sex them. When the roosters start crowing, you can probably go ahead and vent sex them at that point. I don't know that there's any advice I need to give you. It sounds at a month old, they should be ready to be weaned off the heat. You should be able to put them out into outside hutches if that's your plan. And there's not much else to do. Keep them fed and watered. That's about it. By about 8 weeks old, they should start crowing and laying eggs. And then at that point, you can go ahead and vent sex them. All right. Rough Patch Homestead said, just wanted to add that I really appreciate how you scroll through the comments on your lives and talk with us and not at us. It's a really nice change from a lot of lives. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I don't have, maybe you call that being lazy, because I don't have like a topic planned out to talk about here. This is my opportunity to interact with you guys. I feel like I don't get to do that enough. I haven't been good about answering comments lately or responding to them lately. So this is how I can do that. And it's always kind of been that outlet for that. I've toyed with the idea of getting, I don't know, like a Zoom setup or something like that, where everybody could join so we could actually talk. And, I could hear you and you could hear me and we could talk. But I think that may get kind of chaotic with all the people in here. I don't know. Maybe we'll try it out sometime and see. All right. Tanya says, at what week do you separate baby rabbits from the mom? We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but that's okay. I'll answer it again. 6 weeks old or older. I usually do 7 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, something like that. But at 6 weeks old, they should be fully weaned at that point, and you should be good to go ahead and separate them from the mom. I wouldn't do it before then. 6 weeks is kind of the minimum. You will hear people that talk about doing it earlier than that, at 4 or 5 weeks, and say that they've never had a problem, and that may be the case, but 6 weeks is kind of the general wisdom and the general rule. So that's what I would go with. All right, Federico says, just tuning in with this interesting topics on breeding. Well, thank you for tuning in either way. All right, Brooke, I got to get a drink here. My voice is starting to go. All right, Brooke says, I have a rabbit on the ground with caging around here. She's dug tunnels deep and long. Heard of this before. She's also ranges freely during the day. Yeah, rabbits will dig. Yeah, if you put them on the ground, they're going to dig their way out almost always. So, yeah, I've heard of that for sure. They are famous for being diggers. So she free ranges during the day, huh? I'm surprised she comes back, but sounds like a good setup. Everything's going well. All right, Robin says, thanks. It does make sense. Appreciate your info. You're absolutely welcome, Robin. Got to look back at, talking about the Listerine. Yeah, you're absolutely welcome. All right, Federico says at Tanya Vaughn says, I prepared the kit to be 5 weeks or 30 days, stayed on the day before wanting them. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, I'm lost with that. Talking about what week. Okay, gotcha. What week your baby rabbits are weaned. All right, Captain Simba says, I'm on 5 days into my first incubation doing guineas and going to lockdown on day 26. Hope it goes well. I hope it does too. Good luck with that. I haven't hatched out guineas, but the process is pretty much the same. You know, the only difference I would say is maybe the humidity requirements. I think it's probably the same for guinea. And you already know that the lockdown phase is different, but the process is the same no matter what you're incubating. Bird-wise, anyway. Reptiles are a little different, but birds, it's the same process. It's just the lockdown dates change, and maybe the humidity requirements change. Ducks, I know, require higher humidity, but everything else, I think, really kind of falls into that same humidity gauge. All right. Rough Patch Homestead says, I can hear that backyard already. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm lost. Probably something I said a minute ago, but I don't know what it was anymore. Sillamore says, really appreciate all your time and content, Chris. Thank you. God bless. Got to go put my quail up for the night. Night all. Well, thank you, Sillamore, for joining tonight. I appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you next week. We got 5 minutes left as long as the comments keep coming in. All right. Captain says, is there a way to tell if I have fertile eggs before putting them in the incubator or only before lockdown and candling? Not without cracking them open, really. There's not a way to tell if they're fertile or not. You just kind of got to guess on them. Oh, Rough Patch Homestead's talking about the guineas. Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing when you said, when Captain said he was incubating guinea eggs. Is you may not know what you're getting in for there. Hopefully you don't like your neighbors, because they're not going to like you pretty soon. Anyway, no, there's no way to tell if they're fertile without cracking them open. And even, just before going into lockdown, I don't know guinea eggs, but, with quail eggs especially, they're pretty hard to candle. It's kind of hard to see through them. So, if you're in doubt, just go ahead and put it in there in lockdown. Usually when you're candling the eggs, though, the ones that aren't, developed, whether they're not fertile or they just didn't develop for whatever reason, it's one of those things where a lot of the times it's really obvious that they didn't develop at all. So you can throw those out. But no, unfortunately, I don't know any way to know beforehand if they're fertile or not. All right. Bob says, no questions, just a comment. I respect your live and live and let live. Everything will work out in the end mentality. Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I just found it easier to live that way. When I was younger, I did used to worry about things and I kind of get stressed out, and it just didn't do any good. It just made me feel bad all the time, like physically ill. I finally just got over it and just, who am I to judge you guys if you want to do something different? That I give you my advice on it, and that's all I can do. If you want to do it a different way, and if it's working a different way for you, my way is not the only way, and I'm just not going to worry about things. That's the way it goes. All right, Federico says, brother and sister mating is used to close genetic characteristics we want on the breeds we propagate. Selective is the best way to do this. Yeah, you're right. It is used. I just personally, I'm not going to breed siblings together. That's my way of doing it. All right, Bob says, the positive outlook on life shines through and goes beyond helping people produce meat, eggs, and vegetables. Well, thank you, Bob. I appreciate the kind comments. All right, looks like we're starting to wrap up here. We're maybe about 5 minutes early, but I think we got most of the comments responded to, most of the comments answered. they're starting to slow down a little bit in the chat, so I think I'll go ahead and wrap it up right here. One more thing. Captain says we have 50 acres and raised gypsy Vanner horses. This is like a pet project for me and friends to hatch the little guys. Well, they'll do a good job of keeping your ticks down. Again, they're just going to get noisy and be annoying. So hopefully you're prepared for that, but I'm sure you are, and I'm sure it's going to go well. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys all for joining tonight. I appreciate that. And hopefully I'll get a little bit of free time. I'll be able to free up and start responding to those comments again. And I guess that's it. Good night. And as always, God bless. Hopefully we will see you guys again next week. Take care.